The Commission of South Lafourche will now come to order. Mac, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Harry, would you please call the roll, please?
Carl Collins,
Here.
Clarence Marks, Mitch Stanoff,
Here.
Roland Huron,
Here.
Roland Guidry,
Here.
Bob Paul,
Here.
McNeely Rome,
Here.
Keith Henry, Monty Vegas.
Here.
Mr. President, we have one.
Okay, you've been presented a copy of the regular minutes of the regular meeting of August the 12th. Your no wishes, any additions, or corrections, deletions, as presented. Moved by Bob, seconded by Mitch. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay, the 21st in, 219 ABL meeting will be held December the 4th and 5th at the Hilton Riverside as usual. If you haven't made arrangements, let Mary know, so she can make arrangements for you and get your rooms and get everything lined up for you as soon as you can to get out of the way. Okay, any here for any audience for the purpose, excuse me, I'm confused right now. Anybody here for the purpose of addressing the board? Mr.
We have a couple
Yeah, but that's-
political candidates, so we'll each have a shot. Three.
Renee Gautreaux.
Four.
Thank
you.
Come on now. It's up here. You weren't here.
Okay. Well, good evening and thanks to the board here. My name is Renee Gautreaux. I'm running for Lafourche Parish District Judge, Division C. I was born and raised here in Lafourche Parish. I'm a 1984 graduate of South Lafourche High School, 1988 graduate of LSU, and 1997 graduate of LSU Law School. I've been in private practice since 1997. I still maintain private practice in Thibodaux, Louisiana right now. And in 2003, I was hired by Cam Morvaunt to be one of his assistant DAs. I've been a prosecutor, or had been a prosecutor until August 5th of this year, when I left the DA's office to run for this office for district judge. I prosecuted some of the most dangerous criminals in this parish, and I'd ask for your vote. Thank you all.
Next, we have Marla Abel, also candidate for judge.
Hi, thank you all for having us here today and letting us address you. My name is Marla Abel. I am currently an attorney with Porteous, Hinkle & Johnson in Thibodaux. I studied civil law at Tulane Law School, and my practice has focused primarily on defending public entities, individuals, and businesses in lawsuits. One of those entities was the North Lafourche Levee District. I actually worked for Pat Amity for several years, and so I got to see some of the difficulties that the levee boards face. We had a big expropriation trial while I was working for him, and also some other civil litigation matters dealing with contracts and projects like that. So I can tell you that I appreciate what you all have to do and what you have to deal with, and I thank you for your work in making our parish a great place to live, and I again appreciate you letting us come here, and I ask everyone for their vote on October 12th. Thank you.
Thank you, Marla. Next, we have Ernest Boudreau, candidate for representative.
Again, thank you all for allowing us to speak, letting y'all address the board. My name is Ernest Boudreau. I'm running for state representative in District 54. I served as chief of police in Lafourche for 4 consecutive terms. Before I had 20 plus years law enforcement, and now I'm running for state representative. I'm here today to ask for your consideration, ask for your vote on October the 12th on number 87, and thank you all for letting us address that. Thank you so much.
Next, we have Joe Petita, parish president.
Thank you, gentlemen, for letting me address you. My name is Joe Fertitta, a native of Golden Meadow, resident in Thibodaux. First graduating class to South Lafourche, attended LSU in Nichols. Served 12 years on the council. Sat on the Home Rule Charter Commission that wrote the Home Rule Charter for this parish. Sat on the commission that wrote the Civil Service Code for this parish. I think I'm the most qualified candidate in the race. I have government experience, worked on several civic organizations, coached Biddy basketball and Dixie baseball for 20 years. I have a lot of ministries in the church that I participated in, Eucharistic minister, I'm a Knight of Columbus, and I wish to convince y'all to vote for me. I know that the parish works closely with this commission. I hope in the future we can work closer, with fuel and maintenance for the pump stations. That's something that's we are just starting to get in North Lafourche. They've done a tremendous job. I don't want to swell Wellington's head too much, but the tremendous job that he's doing. But we hope that we could have a system like y'all have in North Lafourche one day. And I appreciate your time, and I appreciate your vote, number 98. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Daniel, you care to address the board?
I already talked, so I don't want to cheat, but I just want to say.
Well, you're on here all the time.
But anyway, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak. Early voting starts September the 28th to October the 5th. Not Sunday, the 29th, they close. And the election day is October the 12th. And I was able to attend the governor for the Gomessa money that y'all got up in Thibodeau last week. I thought it was real nice at the North Lafourche Levee District, South Lafourche Levee District, and a few members, and everything looked good. So let me close by saying this. Let's continue to make District 9 shine. Get on the train with Lorraine, 113. One call, say 2. Thank you. God bless you.
I thought he was gonna finish it. Full like a butterfly, stay like a bee.
I was gonna say, go Tigers.
Well, everybody says go Tigers.
That's Lindbergh's job.
Anybody else here for the purpose of addressing the board? If not, we'll move to our regular
Well,
order.
I mentioned one thing about Joe. Joe was on the first team that played in the playoffs for basketball. First year South Lafourche, after the playoffs in basketball, Joe was the center. I think it was 24-6, Joe, the record.
I'm sorry?
The record that first year, 24-6.
Something like that.
Okay, the most important thing. Four ties.
Okay, general manager's report, Wendell.
All right, we'll get some slides and some of the work that's been done. Now, Joe, my head don't swell, and we did a good job, because we do a good job because the people let us do a good job, because the guys' bosses don't want to get the job done. I want to tell the governor that, he's got a complicated job, but our job is simple. It's one simple thing, keep water out of people's homes and businesses, and everything that we do points to that. And I think this board does it as good as anybody in the country for doing what they're here to do.
Yeah, but I've been knowing you too long.
Again, September 9th, 1965, this was the track of Hurricane Betsy. Looped a couple of times, brushed Miami, and the eye went right over our area, okay? That hurricane, tied to the hurricane we had the year before, healed the flood of us. Now, Betsy didn't flood us, but we caught the brunt of the wind. Of course, New Orleans and places east got it real bad, but after this storm, October 27, 1965, that's when the New Orleans, the Lake Pontchartrain Hurricane Protection System was protected. New Orleans was authorized. It's when the Golden Medal was authorized in 65. Also, the Carnarvon and Davis Pond projects were all authorized October 27, 1965. So Betsy started all of these things kind of happening.
But Wendell, that was a long time ago. We had a lot of land left that prevented them basically to flood us. We have a lot of marsh left now. 40-something years ago.
Well, but also going to show you that the marsh does something, okay? But treed ridges make a big difference too. But marsh, even if we replace all the marsh, a powerful hurricane is still gonna get you, so you still needed to do the levees, to stop the big storms. And this is, let's see. Okay, here's Grand Isle. And I remember coming off, going to Grand Isle, you get off the bridge and you had these little, little cabins up in a row all the way out, and then another 200 feet of sand, and then you had the sandbar. Yeah. And then this is what happened right after, the week after, when Betsy passed. And it cut everything back, and this disappeared, a place we used to camp at. And the island never really recovered from what Betsy did to it. A little bit hard to tell, but here's the beach over here, here's the road, and you can tell these camps are just totally wiped out. This is the view. A few of the camps, there were camps all along here, all back here, and it actually didn't take that. They didn't take away just the camps, it took the grass and any vegetation. I mean, it's like someone dropped a bomb. Now, the east side of the island, because of the ridge and because of the trees, you still have some houses there that survived from pre the 1890 storms. They're still there today because you have trees and you have a ridge, you have some elevation. And as we all know, elevation is a salvation from inundation, right? This is New Orleans. This is not Katrina. This is Betsy, 1965, New Orleans East area. I showed this picture, I think 5 years before Katrina hit, and then I showed it a couple of years after, and people thought this was Katrina. This is Hurricane Betsy. And we should have been better prepared because we had the event in 65. We should have never forgotten, but it did. In fact, I think right now, a lot of New Orleans has forgotten Katrina. The thing that was different about the Netherlands, they never forget. It's part of their DNA, it's part of their thinking. They always think about flood protection. We're no different. We should never forget, but we do. And then Juan is the other big storm. Our system started because of Betsy, but a lot of other systems started because of Hurricane Juan in 1985. That's what really got Terrebonne started, was Juan hitting. And again, Category 1 storm, barely a Category 1 storm. It hung around long enough here that it pushed some flood waters as much as 50 miles in, flooded West Jeff, flooded our system. And we've had at least 4 storms that pushed more water than Hurricane Juan in this area. And we've not flooded for any of them because everybody's staying with their job and doing the right thing. But again, this is a little bit south of Golden Meadow. Here's on the east side, everything underwater. This is the Yankee Canal pump station, and they had those little pump stations that the parish had. And they had breakthroughs all the way here. This was after the repair fine started pumping out a little bit. Torpin subdivision. This is 1985.
Dropping dips.
And then this was that bullet camp where the first big cut. Actually, the levee held all the way from 2 miles south of Golden Meadow, the floodgate. No water came through the body. The floodgate had just been completed that August. Had we not had the floodgate in place, the storm surge on the outside of the system was up over 7 feet. We flooded inside to only 4.5 feet. Had we not had that floodgate in place, there's a good chance we would have flooded to 6 feet and higher. We would have probably lost some lives had we not had the floodgate in place. As it was, we flooded slow. It took 3 days for the water to fill in. But it still just got to 4.5 by the time it equalized. There's a 4-lane highway, and just about everything on the west side was totally underwater. And again, it was 4.5 foot elevation, but you had some depths up to 9 feet because the land is at a -3.5. There's an armadillo, and like every animal trying to stay dry. Okay.
Which way is this looking?
Looking south.
And where is this picture taken from?
That's a 4-lane highway. This is just north of the intersection at Lafourche.
Yeah.
Lafourche Bridge. That's the intersection here. In fact, the road wasn't built north of there yet.
Right.
And this is looking south. But it's for people not to forget. Now, we didn't flood just in the south. This is in the roads. This is the coastal canal. Here's the Barrios shipyard.
the boat's there, but it's actually on dry dock. That's kind of fun to get the flood, but the boat didn't flood, you get any water, you know? But, this is all the way in the rules, and we've had water higher than this, and the people in the rules have stayed completely dry. And you can see here's the Civic Center. Tennis court had a nice slope to it. Didn't have all of it, went totally covered by the storm. And this is coming from the back. Here's our levee. Now the levee crosses, we have a gate across here, of course, a wall that goes along and keeps all these people dry. But the first time, that night when we were driving, the first place I saw water going over the road was basically in this area on the night that we were here. And then, of course, we come in, and that's one of the projects that we're getting going. We've raised the floodgate. This is the Rose floodgate looking north. We've raised this to 13 feet. We've raised this to 13 feet. We have the contractor on site. He's doing a test pile right now, but once he gets working, we have these eyewalls over here that are only at 8 feet. We'll get that to 13, and we'll also get some sheet pile over here. And that way we'll have a continuous 13 feet of protection over here. The highest we've ever had is 6 feet. So again, it's going to take a bad storm, the worst part of it, to really threaten getting over the top of the system. Now this is north looking south, and again we have 13 all the way through here and coming through here. Okay, this is just some levee we've worked on. This is the Apache form is just to the right looking south. We have this up to about a 13-foot elevation. This is the project where we put all this dirt over here, and we'll just have to get the dirt up here. We'll bring this up to 18 feet once we have this. This project is just finished, and we're putting together some plans to get that.
That's where Morganza's tied. That's where
Morganza ties in pretty much right where I'm standing taking the picture. Again, here we had some debris from the storm and kind of pushed all the debris to the side. This is at Bully Camp. Bully Camp, we raised the levee, but we didn't have any extra dirt on the side, so we were trucking in some dirt, not only to raise the levee, but we're also doing that to widen out the levee. Again, we had a kind of a tiny area there, and didn't have any extra material over here because of the pipeline. So we're trucking the material in, we're widening it, making it stronger, and adding some height to it. And that's the top of the levee contractor's working. This is the contractor who left between pump station number 2 and Apache. And the contractor, he had the right to raise the levee, but right after he degraded the levee, got his material out, and we built that gap back up. It's a shame it happened right in the middle of hurricane season, but it did. But the thing is, we are ready to get the material back up anytime. The material stays on site. It stays cut, and then we put the stuff back on right away. And this is how it looks today. In fact, right now, there's grass growing on it. That's it. Gap, we have more material than was on it before. And if we get a powerful storm, we'd probably go in there and make sure this would be the last place it would go over. We'd raise it another 2-3 feet, make sure it goes over the other areas before we get to that. Again, that's that same job. They're Bully Camp. We showed you widening out the levee. And what we're doing is taking the material that our contractor had taken from the other side of the canal, brought it to this side. We have it here to use whenever we need to, and we're stacking it up to get it dry and bring it outside to the top of the levee. See the contractor looking south of Bully Camp, taking the material from the other side of the levee and bringing it onto the levee. That's marsh management that we did, where a lot of times 38,000, here 40,000, we got this done for 12,000. No containment, we didn't plant anything, we went into broken marsh, just put the holes in the water and let it flow. And we think, we don't see anybody promoting it, but we call it, if you go to broken marsh, or I call it hair plug marsh. You got the grasses already there, it's already providing some type of containment, and you get the elevation the cheapest way possible. Now, this is a project that Ducks Unlimited is doing. The parish is involved with this. ConocoPhillips, and this is again right off of the levee. They put some containment, and they expect to have some extra material. And if they do, then they'll fill in between the levee and the containment. But Again, this job is, our process of reestablishing the marsh along the levee, a marsh apron, and like Roland was saying, it breaks everyday wave action. We have some problems with the Tobal levee and have to put rocks, which are much more expensive, but this works out environmentally and protecting the levee. Morrisburg drag line that built the containment. And also, Ducks Unlimited, ConocoPhillips, other partners, these are the terraces that were put on there. And, you know, when you shut down the width of your open water to less than 300 feet, your natural vegetation usually hangs on pretty well. So that does a good job for us of breaking down the everyday wave action. And this is the area we put right at the corner behind the parking pool, about not too far. Again, they made us put some containment for that first project, but here's the containment. The overflow actually built all this marsh, and I keep looking at it to see if it's gonna erode back, and it has not. It stayed very solid. We did this, I think it was 2010, when that was done, and this marsh has just gotten nicer and nicer. Without intent, it's like lanyard. It's just the stuff that went over the top, because you gotta let your extra water flow over the containment. Again, we want to apologize to anybody who was inconvenienced Labor Day weekend, okay? Yeah. You know, we had planned it 3 weeks ahead of time, and it kept raining, and it just so happened on that weekend, the problem occurred. And it did have some long delays, but we've got a straight road, we've got the gate today. The gate can be operated, the contractor's finishing up the outside, we have to close the bypass road, and then rebuild the levee. We're in great shape, that's gonna be up to 18 feet. But you can see the bypass road, how much of a curve it was, and our bypass is not very different from the original road we had. So it was not up to the highway standards. Now we're up to highway standards, it's straight, you just have that little curve at the bottom, and once you get on here, it's pretty straight. So this project is really gonna make things better for everybody. Makes it better for us, because instead of depending on HESCO baskets, which do a pretty good job, but it's still HESCO baskets. If something's pounding them, they could be destroyed. Well, now we have a solid steel wall. The other thing is, with HESCO baskets, we'd have to prepare equipment, sand, and get our people out there, and sometimes close it maybe 20 hours before, because you're not sure when the water's gonna come. And also, after the storm, we still have to get our equipment out to take the HESCO baskets out of the way. Now, a couple of guys can get this thing closed in a couple of minutes, so we can wait almost to the last minute to close the gate. And after the storm is gone, almost immediately open the gate. So it benefits everybody, both inside and outside the system. Now we're inside looking out. So here's our lock, safe harbor over here, traffic coming in. And what's interesting in this picture is that this side is on the pump, okay, LA1. 308's not on the pump. This would look like this if it would not be on the pump, okay? And then, of course, Yankee Canal levee separates this drainage area from everybody else on the east side. But again, here's LA1 coming through and big flood. Yeah.
How is the levee on the water line?
Okay, the levee here, we've got it near 18 feet. We have this 18 feet, the sheet pile wall, and the floodgate are at 16 feet. And every time, if we can put the levees a little bit higher, if it's not too much extra cost, we build a little bit higher. So each time we come around, we keep on adding to the elevation if it makes sense. Now, sometimes you can't raise it a lot because it would cost you couldn't build a project because you don't have enough money to raise at the higher level. But we've continued to increase the whole ring. Our goal is, you always go build at the lowest piece of levee. And if you keep doing that, you've really achieved something when your highest piece of levee becomes the lowest piece. When you're raising that border, we've actually got to that situation a few times. Again, just looking from the side, the gates are in place over here. You have this mounted here supporting it, the cable's coming in. And I want y'all to notice the top of this concrete when you pass. It's around 28 feet above sea level. Now, what does that have to do with anything? Well, Hurricane Katrina pushed a 28-foot storm surge in past Christiana. Okay? So I mention that because we have a great system. We haven't flooded since 1985, okay? And we reduced the chance of flooding tremendously, but we can never guarantee we're not gonna flood. Every time you pass, think about it. If you get the worst part of a Katrina, worst part of Dorian, you get water over the top. But we have to be unlucky, because you gotta be unlucky to get the worst part of those storms, okay? Most places in Louisiana have to be lucky not to flood. We've got the advantage of having to be unlucky to flood. Now, Morganza to the Gulf. Just to remind everybody, the parish line is right over here. Morganza continues all the way to the west side of Terrebonne. Comes over here to Pointe-aux-Chenes. Once it crosses, there's a floodgate. Once it crosses, it's in the South Lafourche Levee District. Now, Morganza doesn't help too many of our people. We got a few people on the west side over here. We got the group of people outside the system in the roads. But 99% of the people that we protect are inside the old school in Meadow. Morganza doesn't really help us out a lot. But we do it because it's right. We're helping our neighbors. Economically, we're tied together, and we should help. But this is the section K levee over here. This is L in yellow. I'm going to show some slides. CPRA is building a piece of levee over here. What is it, 9 feet or 10 feet?
It's closer to 9 feet.
9 feet?
I think goal was 10 feet.
And that's over here. With the project we done section K, we put about 1.5 million cubic yards here. And it did some good for the storm, but we also lost some. But we're starting to shape it, and I'll show some slides of that.
Wendell, will you point out where the gate that the state is funded, where it would be
It's
located?
gonna be right in this area, Grand Body. The levee's on the west side here, then there'll be a gate, and then the levee is on the east side of Grand Body to here, and it goes across. But you see, Morganza also outlines our system over here, and then attaches on the east side. Now, with that attachment, through the Intercoastal Canal, the structure's put in there, then we'll see some benefits from that. That is gonna help keep water off of this segment of levee. But here at Bank of Morganza continues all the way to just south of Lafourche. This is the Pointe-aux-Chenes floodgate. The water came about 7 feet up in here, and the water was kept out the levee along this area. This is some of the work. Again, this was just the contractor throwing the 1.5 billion cubic yards up. But some of the places we have materials you can go out and we're starting to shape it. In fact, we were looking at plans to shape it before the storm hit. Because what you want to do is shape it so that rain goes off of it. If the rain doesn't pond, it means the levee starts to tighten up and get stronger. It also lets grass grow. Once you get the grass growing, it's going to hold that material in place. But we didn't get to that point, so we did lose some material. But most of it stayed. I think Steve, you had estimated about 40,000 cubic yards lost.
50.
Was that
50.
50? That's out of 1.5 million.
Yes.
So that's not that bad, but we think FEMA's gonna help us, pay us to get it back on out there. This is the top, one piece of levee. We can form some really nice levee over here. So there's some very good pieces. The project was probably, I would say, 75%, a lot of material, good fat material, well to build fat levee. Maybe 25% was skinny, that we'd have to really move a lot of material to get it. And the skinny area is where it was over top. Because the material just wasn't quite as good. But this stuff's fantastic. Again, this area is, we lost a little bit of material. Now, at the water control structures, there are 2 water control structures. They were a little bit lower, they had rocks on the top instead of grass. Water went over the top, and you know, when you have a hard structure and they're a soft structure, that's where you're gonna lose material, because some of that energy refracts over the hard and starts heating up on the soft stuff, and that's why you started getting the scour. Luckily, it didn't cut all the way through, because this would get a lot more damage had it completely gotten through. So the repairs are basically to keep that elevation here, but keep that same elevation over the water control structure. So again, water coming over, hitting the hard structure and causing some back erosion. But Mitch is gonna solve all those problems. Right, Mitch?
Well, he said that.
I'm surprised and amazed that those structures have held up the way they did, so,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a success story right there.
Yep, it is, because now you got something to come back. I said, if you cut across and it becomes a more of a problem, you have these cuts. And again, here you had scour, but not enough to really take a lot of people out. But the trick is, these areas are more susceptible because they're skinnier. You need to be higher. You want to make sure they don't get over top.
We actually put all that material about a year ago on top of those structures, and I think it saved us for this event.
It did. I just would have put bigger rocks if we could afford it, if it could have had bigger rocks, or you put escrow, just anything to stop it from rolling over the top. If it doesn't get that momentum, it's actually when the water goes over the levee to the backside, it picks up momentum and it scours from the inside out. In fact, in New Orleans, the Mr. Gold levees, the ones that go in St. Bernard, they talked about the levees failed. They did not fail. Failure is if the levee falls over before the water goes over the top. Those levees over there were over top and scouring from the inside out, so they weren't truly failures. They were just, they weren't built high enough to take care of that storm. So the design wasn't high enough. It was not a true failure.
Same thing here.
Yeah,
None of it was high enough, right?
the event right here, nothing truly failed. A failure is when, before the water gets to the top, it falls over. Like in St. Bernard, their levees were 15 feet high, the storm surge was 18 to 19. You're not gonna win. You know, if your levee's higher than the water, you win. The water's higher than your levee, you lose. That's it. Now, the walls that led to the flooding of New Orleans, those were failures. The water did not get over the top. Water seeped underneath, and that was a true failure for those walls along 17th Street Canal and Linden Avenue. Now, this is the job that the CPRA is doing. The levee's over here, this is the Apache Forum, and then of course, they flooded, but the flooding that went into the forum actually happened along this area. None of the CPRA levee, the elevation they had, none of the water went over the top. And finally get some progress, here's the Borough Canal. This is the area near the pump station, here's the pump station. That's where the sheet pile is, and I had that little problem, but this is the levee. Looks really good in this area, you got a nice slope on the outside. Looks like a real levee, Borough Canal on the inside. But it's up to about 9 feet. And here's all the way up standing on our levee looking, this connects to us perpendicular. And so here, they're finishing up this segment over here. Again, digging up, placing material. Now this is that same levee. And here's our levee, and this is the mitigation area. In fact, we're meeting this week to finally get started on getting that thing filled in. And I expect next year when we take this picture, you're going to see just as much more. Any questions? All right, we're going to move through this. The Saints start early. Okay. At our pump station number 4, near Yankee Canal, the station was built a little bit higher compared to the other stations, and we have an excavator that we've been using there, but its reach is not good enough right now. So I would like for the board to give the president a right to pick the method of getting our excavator. We think we can get one state contract or get some type of agreement. I'd like for the board to agree to allow our president to pick the method to get the excavator.
Options are?
Well, the options are, one, we get a lease purchase, we can advertise, or we can, get one other method, Mary?
Buy it straight up. We can advertise, and we can buy our own state contract, a brand new.
Yeah, the state contract is the most expensive. We think we might go sell $10,000 to $20,000 by maybe advertising or the lease purchase. So I want to talk about it some more with our field people, so if you could give Ronald the right to.
I'll give a recommendation of our general manager to give the authority to choose the method of purchasing this new piece of equipment, used piece of equipment. Your wishes, and then move on Max, second on Mitch, second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
The presidential emergency declaration, Hurricane Barry, they opened it up to repairs for levee, so we're gonna probably get our guys that worked, extra time, get that paid at least 75% by FEMA. And we also had debris removal, so we expect to probably get 75% of our costs of debris removal. But those are the only two issues that we had. Really, this storm was not a big threat to our levee system. Oh, okay. I had an old agenda, so, we had the governor's press conference, announcing some of the Go Mesa money that was available. And, we had several members, Golden, Neely, and Bob, well, that it. That's it. And, everybody said kumbaya, because everybody's happy when you get some money, So, to improve the situation. But the one thing,
Exactly what will this fund?
well, we're gonna use that, but, and again, this is something I wanted to talk to you about. We shifted some, other projects that didn't cost much money, we had some money left over. So we're doing some, those projects, which include E-North, which is the globally formed, and also this area south of there, and some old money. This new money, I would suggest to the board, and if you all agree to that, is that we will look at the Golden Meadow pump station flood wall. Okay, that flood wall is at 13 feet, the levee's at 17 feet. We want to raise that flood wall to match the levee on the side. And so, we'd like y'all to go ahead and agree to us doing that project.
Well, to prevent having to come back later, a few years from now, and then we're getting again, we're too wide, so maybe we could say that the insurance will get a possibility of raising it over 15 feet, so 17 and 18 feet.
Well,
So we don't have to
well,
if it's feasible.
yeah, well, that's what we have to look at, because you see what we're doing. We have the cheap pile in there. We're not gonna go in and build another, get cheap pile down another 40 feet and get to the, we're looking at adjusting to the thing that's there. So you have some limitations, that this design that's there was designed for having plus 13. Wasn't necessarily designed to plus 17, but we think there's enough safety factor that we can raise it to 17 without having to do some really expensive. We're hoping to get this done for $1.5 million. If we go too forward, then we gotta do the whole project, which could be $10 million.
See, if this was a core project, we have to get their
Let's not talk
permission.
about that. Okay, I was hoping
I
we
just want
could.
to come in the middle and just shut us down.
Look, Benjamin Franklin said, learn the law well so you can break it properly. Okay, so we'll just leave it at that.
Judge, people in here? Good here, well.
Yeah, I like that.
I didn't hear that.
I read too.
I'd like the motion to approve that project.
Move by roll, second by roll, Dave. All in favor, signify, any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. No, motion carries. Barry, you got the motion, huh?
I got it.
Okay. I didn't get it.
Rolling and rolling.
Okay, so and I think,
CPRA. She's talking about
again, I'll not have an update version. That's okay, I've got that.
CPRA.
Burgess.
F. New business?
Now. Okay, the CPR agreement for Grand Bayou floodgate, we finally have that signed. So, again, I'd like to give the board president the right to move forward with the, working with Athens to advertise that project, give them the right.
Recommendation about manager to give the right to work with advertising this project. Is that what you do? Moved by Mish, second by Mac. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Again, the LA1 swing gate, it's ready to swing and do its job. We, contractor should be finished soon, and I'm sure Joseph talked about that. We talked about Hurricane Dorian, Isaac stayed over us for about 36 hours, and that was a category 1 hurricane. think about category 4 or 5. Sad part about the islands, over here, we know that we wait for the wind to finally change direction, because eventually it's gonna be pushing from land somewhere. You live on an island, doesn't matter where, but you catch it coming and going, you just can't win. It's a terrible, terrible place for that take place. The other thing, it reminds of Hurricane Mitch in 1998. You had a storm that vacillated from category 4 to category 5 off of Guatemala and Honduras. Stayed there for 4 days. And although they have a rocky coastline, just the rainfall, they had 10,000 people die from the mudslides and stuff. So, it can get a lot worse than what we've ever experienced over here. We're looking at getting a contract for emergency disaster that helps with reach key. And I'd like to authorize again the president to accept, or maybe, was that, I'm giving you a lot of work. Well, let's say the executive committee. We'll get the executive committee to, we'll put a RFP, a proposal out to see get somebody to do the workforce, because reach key is a little bit complicated for the
Which
FEMA
case on
work.
the Organza end of it?
Yeah, this is for the FEMA work to kind of, because we lost that material, there's gonna be some surveying, you're gonna have to be pretty exact with it. So I'd like for the executive committee to choose a contractor to do that. We'll put out the RFP. And so so once we have the RFP out, once we get some proposals in, the executive committee would make the decision on who would do the work.
Okay, gentlemen, you have a recommendation about general manager? Your wish, moved by Bob, seconded by Monty. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Pump station overhead crane. They put it together at the company, and they started working today on it at the place. Yeah,
Is that
finally gonna
is
get
that
that.
picture we've got?
Picture that, put 1,000 words.
That's right, that's right. The
Yeah.
pictures are like right in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want you to put it up there. That's good. Yeah,
It's in there somewhere.
it's in your package.
Yeah, this is good. Picture with 1,000 words.
All right. Any questions?
Now, I got a question. Did the port get in touch with you for the Ontario cost sharing operations? It's coming up in September for our personnel. Me and Keith and McNeil went to a committee meeting last month to reinforce a request. We get 200,000.
Yeah.
Did they get back to you?
No, it's not time yet. It's at the end of the year.
They're gonna
End of the
do it
year.
in
They
January.
indicated.
Yeah.
Okay,
when
so
they do their
January, the
budget.
renewal, January.
When they do their budget, yeah, so
Okay.
everything's looking good for that. And again, we appreciate all, we've always had great relationship with the port. They've always looked at what's best for the community, and again, I tell people, without the port doing what it does, and our other business people over here, the tax money, we've progressed because we can depend on that tax money. Sometimes the feds help us out, we get money from the state periodically, but we would be in a real hole if our taxpayers hadn't backed us up and our businesses not being so successful. B North and B South, that contract is there. We can get more material for $3 a cubic yard, that's extremely cheap, okay? And so, we would ask that you allow us to do another $200,000 worth of work. That would be about 67,000 cubic yards more. And that's what I'll show you, where they take from one side and put it where we can use it. And, again, I know we're never gonna be able to move material that cheaply in the future. We're moving this at $3, and then,
We'll have to go to bids for this.
no, we're extending an already advertised job, and just we found some more material close enough to get, he's willing to do it at the same price. Again, with that $3, and it takes us $2 to turn it into a levee, $5 a cubic yard, there's not many people building levees at that price. So I would suggest that if, the budget can handle it easily, I would suggest if you all agree to accept that proposal.
So it's not a change order, it's just actually.
No, this is actually a motion to give them what it's, I don't know if technically it's called a change order, but we're authorizing them to do more work outside of the contract.
Okay, great recommendation, your wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Max, seconded by Bob. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
And we've been working to try to get a right-of-way to dig material to raise the levee at Clovelly Farms. The levees have subsided a couple of feet. We've got the agreement and we're ready to go. Now we just got to get advertised. One thing that's kind of important in that area also is it's lower than the flood insurance program allows us to be. And it could threaten our ability to continue having preferred risk for a lot of our people. So we're ready to move and advertise it. So I'd like y'all to also give
I signed that agreement this week. Right there, there's one I signed.
Right, that's taken care of.
for Scully. And we want to thank them. That was a total donation for all that. All of that farm property, all of it's been donated. And this is extra material. We're going to dig it, shovel the farm. Again, donated.
You authorized that at the last meeting and I signed it right away
Yeah.
this week.
Correct.
Right. And I would like to authorize the contract, our engineers to advertise that job.
Okay, with the recommendation of our general manager, your wishes, gentlemen, moved by Rowland, second by Rowland. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Yeah, then we rolling move, so we'll roll on.
Sure, I said a lot
on your birthday.
Rolling by
Yeah,
Rowland.
what else you acting for your birthday?
Hey, look, wait a minute. They didn't pull a trick on me and give me the old agenda.
Just see if you're on your game.
Yeah, what's some views on people like that?
Okay, well, folks,
All right, that's all I have, thank you.
okay. Any questions of our general manager? None, we'll move on to engineer reports. CPRA.
Yeah, I'm gonna, just a brief, update on the CPRA T78 project, which is, Reach L. We saw some pictures when we had some up there that, I mean, the good news is Phil Wade Contractors, that's what we have, and they are, for all intents and purposes, pretty much done with the embankment, the levee work. The last part was tying in, on the east side right there. There's still some items of work to be done, but the elevation is up. They've got it great in shape for the most part. At least they're finishing that now. We had a couple weeks of drier weather, so honestly, they're looking to really start demobilizing soon. They have some seeding and things like that they still have to do to the levee. But yeah, so that's good news. There are a couple items that are outstanding that may cause us to have to go back out there. Some remaining items, but like something at the pump station and another thing or two they need to fix. But the levee is functionally complete. You just need to get it seeded. So. And they'll be demobilizing. So that's good.
That's good.
That's about it.
Yeah, there's two good days. There's the second best day is when you award a contract. But the best day is when you finish the construction. Then you have protection.
But yeah, I think most of it is, some of it is up to 10. It's just that there are areas that have already, solid. It's about 9. I mean, but we're honestly glad we have 9 feet.
Yeah.
So that was a real crunch on the budget there. So. Still is, actually.
There are ways. There are ways.
Throw some more of it.
Yes,
So like,
we'll talk about that
so like
another
when
time.
the kids come to visit, the best days when they come, the second best days when they finally even go.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Tiger. Any questions? We'll move on to our project engineers, Joe.
It's on LA Highway 1 elevation and realignment at the locks. Did have some delays over the holidays. They tried to work with the night crew and the quality of the road base just wasn't coming out right. So they actually had to come in and mill some sections out. It was real critical that we get the elevation, especially right on the south side where you have curve and the super elevation. So they did actually come in and mill some of it out, got the elevations corrected, and they decided to work days. Well, like Wendell said, we had weather, and then so finally they came in on the Friday before Labor Day, and they had a lot of delays. But last week they did a lot of work, and it seemed like the traffic was working. They were delayed 10 to 15 minutes at the longest, so it seemed like it was working okay. So this week they're still working on striping and putting the guardrail in. So there's still going to be some one-lane traffic during the daytime. They're also going to be removing the existing roadway and and then they're gonna start tying in the levee, and then they'll be wrapping it up. So I imagine in the next couple of weeks they'll be wrapping up the whole time. But it does look good so far. The roadway ride's really nice, and it's gonna be safer, and we'll have the flood protection.
Had a bunch of calls, the people said, I thought y'all were making the road straight. I said, we made a gate for the levee. That's what we did, you know.
We straightened it out a lot.
I know,
I mean, it's not just a little bit.
turn on the south side.
Yeah, no, but the road is straight when you go over that ramp.
Tell them to drive the 208 and
Every
not
day.
put the road in.
Yeah, right.
That curve could have been eliminated if we'd have built a bridge over the Asheville Canal, which would have probably cost us $1 million extra money to do it.
That is true.
So I told them, we in the levee business.
So we do have pay application number 8, and then $305,184.44 for approval. We do recommend you pay that.
Is there a recommendation of our engineer to pay request to Byron Calvin, the amount of $305,184.44? Your wishes, moved by Mitch, second by Monty. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
On the LaRose floodgate, steel K-frame wall and the concrete eye wall, sea levels out there, they did the test pile a week or so ago. We did get the test pile results, they all came out good. So they are proceeding with prepping and painting on the H piles and also on the steel corrugated piles for the wall. I'd expect in the next couple of weeks you'll start seeing them out there, start to deliver some material and get going. On this project, we also have the application number 2, in the amount of $24,999.06. We do recommend you pay that.
Based on a recommendation of our engineer to pay sea level construction $24,999,06, which is pay request number 2. Moved by Max, seconded by Bob. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. How about Southern Delta Construction?
Oh, they're in the lien period. Project is complete. So we don't have any pay app or anything. We're just waiting on that paperwork, and then we'll ask for repayment.
Okay,
We
thank you.
do bid for the placing of that material next week. So that's another contract out there on the east side. I'll report on
Okay,
it.
thank you. Any questions of Joe? Move on to GIS engineering, Ray.
Yes, sir. By Lafourche water level control, as the Golden Meadow retention pond, the Corps continues to analyze the 2 4-foot intermediate tie-ins to the main levee. We are working with Mr. Kenny Blank on that, so we hope to have that soon, but the Corps is still looking into it. Pump station number 4, as Wendell said earlier, PhD crane has mobilized today with material, equipment, and personnel. They are going to start this evening and start working tomorrow. Expect to be finalized by the end of the week or early next week, is what they're reporting.
Okay. Any questions of Ray? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Angela, that's you, Neil.
All right, on the V-North South Levee project, this is from the base off pump station to Golden Meadow Park. Next contract with Pontchartrain Partners is continuing, work is going well, and we're recommending approval of their pay request number 28 in the amount of $98,052.65.
You've heard the recommendation of our engineer to pay Pontchartrain Partners LLC. Pay request number 28 at the amount of $98,052.65. Your wishes. Moved by Marty, second by Mitch. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Okay, on Morganza to the Gulf Reach Arrow, this is going to be from the west side of the Apache Farm levee all the way out to Grand Bayou. We met last week with the levee district and the CPRA to finalize the scope and the budget for this project. The state has $7.3 million for this project, so we're going to be finalizing our plans and specifications around that. This is going to give us a levee construction up to +9 from the Apache Farm all the way up to the structure at Grand Bayou that Optum is designing. It's also going to include some options for a structure at the Bayou. So that'll be coming out about a month.
You also have C South Levy improvements.
We're just in the clearing period on that project.
Okay, any questions, Anil? Delta Construction. I'll say it, Jim, give me time.
Delta Coast.
I get my space in my mouth off that. Mitch.
So as far as the mitigation project, we've been on hold for a while. Our buggies are doing other emergency work in that area, so there's been no production on that mitigation. We'll try to utilize Stevie's project as a way to add mitigation, if possible in that area.
So you know about the terraces?
That's right. I'm talking about to supplement any terrace work, if we can add to our marsh creation, we'll try to do that as we see what type of achievements we're making in that marsh creation.
That's when you're talking about taking money away from the mitigation to work on the levee?
No, we decided not to do that.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
what I'm asking.
Yeah, we decided to leave all that money in place, so, the K&L, we originally took the 7.3 million out of that, but we're back funding that money back into it. So in a couple of months, we'll get a bid on K&L.
You've been doing some creative engineering.
We've had to be very creative, and Reggie likes to be creative, so it's right in his alleyway, but,
I don't know if you call that creative. It's a word for it.
I would-
Convoluted might be a better word.
yeah, it's definitely convoluted, but it's also extremely creative. So anyway, I mean, the good news there is, I mean, really that puts us under construction, everything between Plunge Channel Road. So, I mean, that's awesome. So if we can get that 9 feet the whole way, and then we cook them with something now, you know? And really, that stuff could all happen in the next year and a half or so. So, that's impressive. The cooperation that we have between everybody is allowing us to focus and get some things done. So, we'll do a little assessment of where we are as far as mitigation after all this emergency work clears, and we'll get back to work on what we need to take care of. Obviously, we're gonna have to start thinking about amending some permits and doing some things like that for future efforts, so. But so far, so good. Encouraging. A wonderful meeting last week, everybody getting together and figuring out how we're gonna get all this stuff done, so. Thank y'all for everything.
Any questions to Mitch? Thank you. Moving on to All South Engineers, Stevie.
Yes, sir. We've got 2 projects to report on in my section of the agenda. The first one is the hurricane response for Reach K&L. We've touched on this. Wendell mentioned it in the slideshow, and Mitch, of course, just alluded to it. Since Hurricane Barry, we've had a marsh buggy working on Reach K, a marsh buggy that was provided to this district by the South Terrebonne Levee Conservation District. That buggy is just about done with the emergency response work we assigned them to do. About 7,000 feet of Reach K was overtopped during the storm, washed out. To some extent, that's the 55,000 cubic yards we talked about the losses a second ago. So this buggy has literally been in there just shaping what was left up into some type of a levee to prevent, again, any further damage from occurring. If Dorian would come this way or something else, you have to have these gaps filled in. Long story short, that work is just about complete, probably another week to a week and a half of this marsh buggy work, and then we'll return it back to the Terrebonne Levee District and go back and work on some mitigation, okay? Just so you know, excuse me, the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government provided a second marsh buggy for use on Reach K. We used that buggy to pull the debris off the front of that levee. The debris that was on the front of Reach K, of course, we can't get to it with a regular vehicle or a dozer, so we used another marsh buggy to pull it off the front. That's a buggy that was made available by the Terrebonne Consolidated Government, and that buggy's already finished with that work. The last thing that's going on with Reach K, and again, Wendell had a couple of pictures of this. This entity hired SBL about a month ago to go out there and start shaping some of the parts of Reach K that we can put a dozer on and shape. That work is still ongoing. It's been a little slow, but it's ongoing. We've got a contract with SBL to do about 2,700 feet of levee. When he finishes that 2,700 feet, we're going to see whether we want him to continue going north or perhaps take a different strategy going north. The second project I have to report on is the marsh mitigation for Reach K. This board awarded that project to Coastal Dredging in a recent meeting. We have a pre-construction meeting with the contractor tomorrow morning at this office at 10 o'clock. That's to build a marsh in an open water area just south of the Apache Farm. That work should get underway within the next 2 weeks. He's going to start building dikes first, And then he's gonna bring the dredge in probably in 30 to 45 days and pump it full of material in there. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, Stevie? Thank you. Laura?
All right, so it's super short. So as we mentioned earlier, the IGA was the last piece that was executed when the governor was down last week. Grand Bayou is ready to go to bids, and I'll set up a conference call later this week, just kind of kick off coordination call so that we can make sure that we get all the dates lined up and we're ready to go to bid.
Laura?
Yes.
Now that we've got the funding for the actual gate across, what's the timeline that this be complete?
The timeline, we've got it estimated at 18 months.
18 months from the time you go to bids to it's completed?
No, I'm thinking go to bid in September, award early November, and then execute contracts, and so January of 2020 to June 1st of 2021.
So by 22, we should have something across that volume, by 22. Okay, thank you. Any questions, Laura?
Usually they're functional as far as operational, about 14 months into it.
So two
Yeah, so
hurricane
middle of
seasons,
2021.
hurricane seasons from now, it
Yes.
should be helping to stop all
We
that.
should be using it at that point, right?
Laura told me she was learning how to weld so she could make this thing go faster.
That's right.
You need to help holding staff. Any questions, Laura? Thank you. Okay, legal permits and right-of-ways. Mitch?
No?
None?
You have
Yes, we do, Kevin.
You have one.
So Amy pointing, I didn't know why. Okay. We have an approval to do a Coalition Restore Coastal Louisiana, approval from the board, to build a restoration project of oyster shells on our property that we own in Hackberry Creek. So, we should approve that, and Ray has the what we need to fill out, and we will, not ask them to do mitigation on their marsh job, so that's what we're gonna do.
We'll allow them to do it without mitigation.
Yeah. Yeah, we could ask them, and that's just crazy, asking for mitigation. Also, let's see, and there's also the Kaiju Wetland Company, and this is not affecting our levee system. And there's an after-the-fact permit from Entergy, and, let's go ahead and approve all three projects.
Three projects, and you're recommending approval. Okay, gentlemen, your wishes. Moved by Mitch, second by Mac. Any questions? Discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Mr. Attorney, you have any part?
No.
Okay, Finance Committee, Monty?
Okay, the Finance Committee met for this meeting, and we want to pay approve the bill invoices as presented.
Report and recommendation by the committee chairman, Monty, seconded by Mac. That will pay all bills as presented. All in favor signify by, end discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Personnel Committee. Monty?
Personnel Committee, we had a meeting to grant Mary, who's the guy that's on probation.
Jason Snell.
Mason Snell.
Now to a permanent status. He's been a 6-month, pretty much probation period, and we're going to put him on full-time.
Okay, gentlemen, any old business?
This was in the packet, given by this manager. With George
Jimmy Martin.
Yeah, this was one of the land suits that we had, okay? That, yeah, and so we talked to the attorney about how we're gonna deal with that issue. Just wanted to let y'all know that some of the stuff is still out there. All right.
Any old business? Any new business?
Well, I did want to mention one thing. Tomorrow is September 10th. That's the middle of the hurricane season activity. So we can get the rest of this half and have nothing more than another barrier. So we're going to have nothing actually, but we're halfway through the season.
Need some cool weather.
Exactly. Got a couple of cold fronts over here.
And yeah, after that, 9/11.
Yeah.
18 years?
Okay, we have no need for executive session. I want to make one statement before we adjourn, and I want to apologize if the meeting was a bit ragged today. I'm a little bit out of sorts right now. But thank God I had my last chemo this week, so hopefully I'm through with this. I start functioning 100% again instead of the 20% I've been functioning lately. So with that in mind, exec session, we need adjournment, we need a motion. Moved by Rich, second by Matt. And on this, no discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Merci.